June 6th, 1944, a day that will forever be remembered as D-Day. Thousands of Allied forces stormed 5 beaches of Normandy, France at the break of dawn. It was and remains the largest seaborne invasion in history. It was the beginning to the end of the Second World War, as close to 15,000 Canadians were involved in this bloody battle against German forces. One of those men, 18-year-old Bob Vesna, a brother of longtime North Bay resident Colin Vesna. Remarkably, Bob survived the war, living to his 70th year, with his unfortunate passing in 1994. Colin recalls a story told by Bob, a story that brings you aboard one of the vessels headed towards Juno Beach.
They were aboard ship, and just before they landed, he heard the lieutenant colonel say, "I have 15,000 LBs," and he didn't know what an LB was, and so he asked the sergeant, he said, "Sarge, what's an LB?" And he said, "Live bodies." And so that day, right here from our own Northland, 378 Canadians in the Algonquin Regiment died. Our own Algonquin Regiment.
Now, the first wave of Allied forces was meant to be a surprise, but after that initial surprise, many of them were going to their fate, their certain death. What would have been going through their minds during that as the door to those boats went down to approaching gunfire?
I suspect that they were praying that they'd make it, that they were worried about their buddies, and they were what do? You know, you're walking into gunfire. The Germans cut them down like cordwood. I mean, they just did. They slaughtered them until they gained the beachhead, and then the Canadians took over. The Canadians are renowned, and I'm not just speaking as a Canadian and as an ex-serviceman either. The Canadians were renowned as the vanguard in the march, as it were, the fight across Europe until they got into Belgium and Germany. And again, our own Northland's Algonquin Regiment played a very, very important role there, and we lost a lot of our own guys, boys from North Bay who served or were cut down.
And very few surviving in this 2018, 74 years later. What would you tell the younger generation who may have one last chance to speak to one of these veterans? What would you tell them?
To those who survived, and the Korean vets in particular, honor them, respect them, because these guys were 17, 18, 19, and instead of staying in school and doing their grade 11 and 12 and 13, they were overseas, and they were taught to kill people. And that's what they had to do.